Hello my crafty friends, it's Beverly here over at Crafting Chaos, and I'm here with another video, and this one is just showing you an alternative on how an idea for a Valentine's card. It's meant to be quite a simple tutorial, it's not meant to be too taxing and too difficult. I wanted to try and keep this one a little bit simpler, but just to let you know where I'm up to, I'm on a new canvas workspace page, mat if you will, and I'm using the downloadable version of Brother Canvas Workspace, and I am using it on a Mac. Now I believe that the Windows version is the same, so the operation should be the same, and so therefore you should be able to follow me if you've downloaded this version. Okay, so what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to click on the shapes icon, which is here, and I'm going to select the second one in, which is a square with the slightly rounded corners. So I'm going to click that, then I'm going to just close that shapes option just to get it out of the way, and I'm going to make this by being on edit, and I'm going to make those squares 1 inch by 1 inch, and if I've got the maintain aspect ratio set, it will do the width and the height proportionally. Now what I thought of doing was just to have a play on words. I was going to do it like a Scrabble tile. So I'm just going to duplicate a few so I know I've got enough. So I'm going to have, first of all, if I just get these out of the way so I can start manoeuvring them around, and I'm going to arrange them because I'm going to give you a couple of different options for the card. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go onto my artboard, and I've got my grid set to 0.5 inch spacing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on this one, no, this one first, snap it to the grid, which will put it right next to, so again I'm going to snap this one to the grid, so this is right next to it but with a ½ inch gap in between. So if I move this across using my arrows, it will snap it to the grid, and it's going to snap that one right next to it. Then we'll put this one in, and again just using my arrow keys I'm snapping them into position. So I'm going to have L-O-V-E there. So then I'm going to have the word I as a play on words, because we can't fit I and love and you. We've got our Y is going to come up here. So if I just snap that one there, and the U for the U is going to come here. And then I've done with the rest. I'm just going to keep one. So that's going to say love, you and I. So it's like I love you. Okay. So I'm just going to select all of those for now, and I'm going to make them a group. So I'm just going to right click and group them. And then I'm going to make a duplicate of them and pull them off to the side. And I'll explain why later. Now these ones that are here, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make this one that I had left on the screen big enough so that it fits all of those that we've just created and put into that pattern on the page. So if we go to resize, I've got it set now to 6.5 by 6.5 square, which would fit nice on a 7 by 7 inch card blank. Now that we've got this done, what I'm intending to do is you could either, there's a couple of options here, you can either do what I'm going to do first of all here. Now first of all I need to double check that the little ones are on top, and they are, because when I click on them they're coming to they're on the top. Now if I drag a box around everything and do subtract, that will punch out all those little squares in that format there. Now if I put some colour in that, you'll see what I mean. So I'm just going to go on the properties icon, which is like a paintbrush, and that allows us to add some colour. So I'm not quite so dark, so I'm just going to give it some colour. So what I'd intend to do is cut that out in a colour, and then what you could do is you could either stick that directly down onto your base card, or you could pop it up onto your base card, onto some 3D foam pads, so you could recess your letters, or you could have it flat and pop your letters up so that they stand proud. Another alternative is you could just have a 6.5 inch by 6.5 inch grid card like so, and then you could just use that as a guide to stick your tiles in position so that they fit nicely what we've just been working out on your card, so that then you'd have your tiled letters with the words just on your blank page. Or another alternative that you could do is, if we edit those, and we're just going to ungroup them for a second, as I can always go backwards to undo this, and what you could do if you wanted was give them some colour, like what the colour of a Scrabble board sort of is in terms of colours, and you'd have to look at a Scrabble board and work out what that is, and then you could paper piece them back in if you wish, like so that you've got some colour behind like that in the different ones, and then put the letters on. So now we're going to look at doing the letters. So that's giving you a couple of options of how you could actually set out your card. So I'm just going to move those off to the side again now and bring this one on. Excuse me. I'm going to bring on my type next, and I'm going to be going on Futura. So I'm going to scroll down and find it, because if you look, the actual tile font for Scrabble tiles is actually quite plain. It's not very fancy, but if you wanted to do it fancy, that's entirely your choice. So I'm going to type the word you, love and I, and then say OK. Now I'm just going to check whether they fit into the gaps, and I think they're going to fit nicely actually, so they do. So what we're going to do now, at the moment they're all a group because we typed them all together, and I didn't want to have to type them all individually. It's quicker to type what you need and then go on to edit, process the overlap, and we want to divide them. That separates them out into individual letters, and just so we can see a little bit clearer, we'll give them a colour, and for argument's sake I'll make them a dark grey so that they look black. Now I'm going to move the letters so you can get an idea of what I'm talking about now, and I'm just going to first of all take off the snap to grid, because that'll allow me to position them where I want in the squares, like so. And obviously this is just for the sake of the video, so you get the idea of what it's going to look like. It was just trying to think of an alternative that's not your usual hearts and flowers for a Valentine's card that I just thought might be a little bit quirky and appeal to some people. So I'm going to carry on and just put the letters in position, and we've got our Y and our U. Now you could have just typed the letters that you wanted, but just to save time and making any mistakes, I typed the whole word so we've got everything we need. So that would make that. Now I'm going to move those in onto the mat. Like I said, you could make those a colour. So if we're grouped here and not, let me just check that we're in a group. We're not, so I'm going to group them, and then I'm going to give them a colour, and we'll make them I think a palish pink. So I'll click on pink, but I don't want them quite so strong, so I'm going to take the opacity down a little bit so that they're paler, so that when I pop them behind you can see the idea that I mean. You could have them, cut them out, then piece the pieces back in different colours, or one colour, or just leave them white. It's up to you. And then you could put your own greeting, stamped greeting, or if you wanted to make your own sentiment that you're going to draw on that file. So if I turn the shape, whoops, if I turn that back to white or somewhere near close to white by going on the colour again. So if I'm going to pick a lightish colour, and I think I'll pick something from the colour wheel so that it's a nice pale colour, one that I like. That'll do. So now you can see, and you could write your own little greeting in a more square so you could write your greeting like so, and when we click off we can actually, whoops, we can choose, whoops, For some reason I think when you're doing this it likes you to do the font first, and I wanted something a bit more squirrely than that, so I'm just going to try this August free and see what that looks like. So I'm just going to delete that one, click on it again, and we'll type it again just to see what it looks like. Like so, and that's quite a nice, it looks like a nice line font that would be just a single line. So you could shrink that down, make it a drawing line over here, so come to the properties box, make it a drawing line, and then if you put that over on there you can sort of judge the size that you want. You can make it a little bit bigger if you wish, and that would be a nice Valentine's card. And what you could do, if I move that off to the side, is using the same font, is you could type yourself a greeting for inside, that then you could put your insert on your mat or your card blank and get it to write your greeting for you, so you can disguise your handwriting if you don't want the recipient to know who it's from. So you could put "with lots of love on Valentine's Day," like so, and then maybe you could have that. And I think I'm just going to go on to my edit, and I'm going to break it apart initially just so that I can drag around that bit there, the end part of the greeting, and I can group that bit back together. And oh dearie me, my mouse seems to be uber sensitive today for whatever reason. I've no idea why. So we'll try doing this bit first. It might be easier to do the beginning and move the beginning over the end rather than the other way around. So I'm just going to group them, the first half of the greeting. That will allow me to move that, and then I can group back together the second half. Oops, once again this mouse is very sensitive today for some reason. So just waiting for the crosshair to come on long enough to allow me to actually move it. So "with lots of love on Valentine's Day," and then if I just drag around both of those just so that I can get them back onto the mat. Doesn't want to come on, does it, this selection tool, for some reason. So I'll use the arrows, it'll be quicker. So I'll just put it on Snap to Grid so they move a bit quicker. Put it on the mat, like so. And then click off. So you could have that as your greeting on the inside. And if you wish, we can take a look at that in the layers. It's those two together. So we can group those two groups together. And then if you wanted, you could resize it to suit the size that you want. And again, we need to double check that when we've got that set, it's set to draw, because you would never try to cut out something that fine. So that is just giving you some ideas. You might want to cut yourself a couple of embellishments to put on the front, entirely up to you, your choice. I'm just going to put on a couple of hearts if I can find the heart shape. It seems to me like since they've sorted them out, it's made it harder to find some of them, because I knew where they were on the old system, and now that we're working on the new. So I'm just going to pop a couple of hearts, maybe set them to one side. Obviously you cut these separately, and again I'll just make those red just for the purpose of the video. And there you've got yourself an alternative Valentine's card suitable for a 7x7 card blank, and that'd leave you a nice white layer on the other side. So that's it for today's tutorial, just another idea for a Valentine's card. I hope that you've seen and been able to use a lot of the features within Canvas workspace. I will be uploading the file to my blog, which will be free to download if you wish to download it without actually creating it. If you wanted to create your own file, by all means follow along the tutorial, and it would be lovely to see the things that you come up with, because obviously this would vary considerably dependent on any colours or fonts that you chose to use for your letters if you decided to make something similar. Alright, if you have enjoyed it and you feel like you've learned something, please like, share and subscribe, and please let your friends know where to find me so they can learn alongside you. Alright, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Bye.